I'm Chris Hansen, right now on Crime Watch Daily from here in New York.
Horror on social media. A woman is gunned down in her kitchen. Her killer posts the gruesome evidence on Facebook.
We've had a lot of bizarre murders in Miami, but this one really was in a different league.
Today, the chilling crime that unfolded on home surveillance cameras.
Just see this swirl of gunpowder.
Why the suspect snapped.
I fired away. I shot him.
And wait till you hear his outrageous defense. Then, movie stars, money, and the mob.
Was he scared to death? Oh, he was definitely scared to death.
The infamous New York club king who helped take down some of the biggest mafia figures of all time.
How tense was that?
I think I suffered a psychotic break.
Right now.
Andrea Isom, with Crime Watch Daily.
Jason Matera with Crime Watch Daily.
This.
I'm Elizabeth. I'm here with Crime Watch.
I'm Michelle from Crime Watch Daily.
Anna Garcia from Crime Watch.
Is Crime Watch Daily.
Stay off my property.
We'll find you again. We always do.
Welcome to Crime Watch Daily, everyone. I'm Chris Hansen. Every day, millions of people post pictures on social media, but friends of Derek Medina couldn't believe their eyes when they saw his latest Facebook post. Was that really a picture of his dead wife? Today, we have the story behind the photo that made headlines around the world. Here's Anna Garcia.
One of the most shocking Facebook status updates ever. A woman collapsed in her kitchen, blood everywhere.
Her bloodied body contorted in just the most vile way.
But this is not a gag, and it's not Halloween. The gruesome photo posted by the killer.
And what did you do once you took that photo? Uploaded it on Facebook.
Unbelievably, he's her own husband. How did this happen? The answer and the murder are all caught on camera. Jennifer Alfonso was everybody's friend.
Jennifer was very kind and caring. Her heart was just so pure. It allowed people to be vulnerable and open with her because she was such a good person.
Jennifer, a single mom of a young daughter, met Derek Medina while waiting tables at Denny's in South Miami.
Derek Medina was a real Miami character, someone who was really a narcissist, someone who was really self-involved.
Someone who fancied himself a jack of all trades.
We're gonna get all the bats to go crazy. I'm the Batman.
He was a writer.
He was someone that wrote a series of self-published electronic books that virtually nobody read.
Books with catchy titles like How I Saved Someone's Life in Marriage and Family Problems Through Communication. And If the World Ended Today, How Would You React to Saving the World or Helping the World, or Would It All Be Over for You? In addition to writing, he was an amateur boxer and also an aspiring actor.
I'm looking for Omar.
Oh, yeah?
Here he is mugging hard as an extra on the show Burn Notice. But Derek wasn't finding much success in Hollywood, so he tried his luck on a smaller screen.
Record me, man. I'm trying to get my kicks.
Often posting clips of himself on social media.
I think Derek really craved that attention from the outside world.
Derek was getting attention from Jennifer, and they were on the relationship fast track. Within the first month of dating, they married. One of their common interests? The supernatural.
Her and Derek used to go see ghost tours in different cities.
Reportedly, Derek even put cameras up in the house, hoping to catch their own spirit or two.
They were sort of interested in things outside of the mainstream, but they made a really unique pair.
Unique and also volatile. They fought a lot.
They would just fight about silly things. He would break up with her often. He would throw her things to the side, insult her, and then ignore her. Jen used to call them Mexican standoffs. She would surrender often. You know, she loved him.
But love wouldn't be enough. Derek eventually filed for divorce.
So Jennifer moved into an apartment, and she was doing very well. And then he started contacting her again.
Whatever he said or did worked.
The very next day, they were getting married at the courthouse, like the very next day.
So a second ride on the marriage go-round, but the relationship was as tumultuous as ever.
He was very like sick in the head. He would tell her things to make her sad or to scare her.
One time, when he heard another man was hitting on Jennifer at work, a jealous Derek allegedly said,
"I'm gonna stay at Denny's with a gun outside and I'm gonna see if he's gonna with me." And we would tell Jennifer, like, "Hey, he's a little crazy, like he's gonna kill you, man." And she would just look at us and laugh.
There was nothing funny about what was to come. It's early on this hot summer morning, and Jennifer is fuming.
She had asked Derek to wake her up. Derek didn't, so she was upset.
The argument starts in their bedroom.
She started throwing things at him, like a typical type of fight that they would have.
After that, Jennifer goes downstairs, reportedly to go make pancakes for her 10-year-old daughter, who's still up in her room. The surveillance camera in the house shows Jennifer in the kitchen. 27 minutes later, Derek appears.
Eventually, Derek follows her down there. They continue going at it, and she actually starts hitting him in the chest, and he walks away.
Back upstairs to his bedroom. Moments later, Derek comes back down to the kitchen, and this time, he's not empty-handed.
When Derek comes downstairs, he has his gun with him.
Reportedly, Jennifer grabs a knife to defend herself, but she won't have it for long.
Derek disarms her of the knife and puts the knife back in the drawer.
Then, seconds later, Derek empties his gun, shooting an unarmed Jennifer 8 times.
In full view of the camera, you just see this swirl of gunpowder, and it really was a chilling bit of footage.
As the blizzard settles, Derek calmly walks away. He puts his gun back in the closet, then tells Jennifer's daughter to stay in her room.
No regard to the fact that he just shot her mother dead when she's lying on the kitchen floor.
Derek goes back to the kitchen, this time with his phone in hand, but he's not going to call for help. What he's about to do will send a chill down your spine.
When I saw it, I realized that it was real. I just can't believe it.
Coming up,
I thought that Jen was playing some role in Walking Dead or something.
The ghoulish Facebook post that goes viral.
And it's skyrocketed around the world, and that's exactly what he wanted.
In a fit of rage, Derek Medina has just emptied his gun into his wife Jennifer. And police say he's not done with his horror show, not even close. Ana Garcia is back now with that, and we want to warn you, some of the images you're about to see are quite disturbing.
Jennifer Alfonso is lying murdered in her kitchen. Shot 8 times at point-blank range. But this is no whodunit. Her husband, Derek Medina, is the killer, and the chilling crime is caught on their home surveillance video.
It showed him coming in, arguing with Jennifer. It showed him leaving and then re-engaging, and we know that he's shooting at her.
Moments later, the video shows Derek looking down at his phone as he walks back to the kitchen. He stands there for a minute, then walks away, his phone still aglow. After one more perverted peek at her, another camera captures him coolly walking out the front door, zipping up his hoodie, and locking Jennifer's bullet-ridden body inside with her 10-year-old daughter. Not long after that,
I woke up to a whole bunch of messages and calls.
In one of those text messages, an incredibly disturbing photo. A photo of Jennifer on the floor of her kitchen, slumped back, bloodied, and seemingly dead. But is she?
I thought it was a joke. I thought that Jen was really playing some role in Walking Dead or something, and I'm like, all right, whatever, dude. It makes you happy.
But this is not one of the occult-loving couple's zombie pranks. This is dead serious. Within minutes of murdering Jennifer in cold blood, Derek morbidly took a photo of her dead body, then posted the gruesome photo on his Facebook page and hers.
The post with it went something like, "Rest in peace, Jennifer."
That wasn't all. Evidently, Derek had more to say. In another Facebook post, he wrote, "I'm going to prison or death sentence for killing my wife. Love you guys, miss you guys. Take care, Facebook people. You will see me in the news. My wife was punching me, and I am not going to stand anymore with the abuse. So I did what I did. I hope you understand me."
So I was just like, what did you just say? See you on the news. Like, did you kill your wife for attention? Like, why did you kill this lady, man?
So where is Derek Medina? Reportedly, after killing Jennifer, Derek goes to his aunt's house and then with his father.
He turns himself in to the police department down the street.
Here on South Miami Police Department surveillance video is the moment Derek arrives. Cops take him into custody and learn Jennifer's younger daughter is still at the house, alone, with her murdered mother right downstairs. Cops rush over and bust the door open to get her.
They find Jennifer's body, and then they go upstairs and they find the daughter, and they put like a sheet over her head so that she wouldn't see her mom's body as she walked past the kitchen.
With Jennifer's daughter safely out of the house, the focus turns back to Derek.
Early this morning, you turned yourself into the South Miami Police Department, correct?
Yes, sir.
And why did you do that?
Because I'm not a killer. I do not feel that I am guilty. This was self-defense.
Derek says Jennifer started the fight, yelling at him for not waking her up.
And then she started throwing stuffed objects towards me as a weapon.
What exactly was it that she was throwing at you?
Towels, mascara, creams. I got hit in the face a few times.
Did you sustain any injuries at that point?
No.
And at that point, did she leave the room?
Correct.
Remember, surveillance video in the house shows Jennifer alone in the kitchen. Derek follows, and they start fighting again.
Did she have a weapon in her hand at that time?
No.
Did there come a point where you went upstairs and obtained your firearm?
Yes, after I was being punched, yes.
What did you do next?
I went downstairs, confronted her, saw what she was doing, and she had a knife in her hand.
Did you have the firearm in your hand?
Yes, I did.
Did she say anything to you at that point?
Yeah, you're not gonna kill me, blah, 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 and just like, you're a and all that stuff.
Derek tells cops he got the knife away from Jennifer and put it back in the drawer.
Was she armed with any other weapon at this time?
No.
What happened next?
She just started firing punches like crazy and wouldn't stop again. But she was really, really attacking me. Like I was getting out the way, I got hit in the arm, and she was like going for my temple. I felt like she was, she was trying to just take me out.
So after she hit you in the kitchen,
I fired.
How many times?
I fired away. I shot her.
Where did you shoot your wife at?
From the neck to the stomach.
And do you know how many times you actually hit your wife?
6 to 8 times. Oh, everything that was in there hit her. Everything that was the full round.
So every round that you fired hit your wife?
Correct.
It's a chilling admission.
When you shot your wife, did she say anything?
No, she just kept on trying to attack me. She was in shock. She had an expression like she was shocked, but she still was trying to swing at me, trying to lunge at me.
And what did you do with the gun after you shot her?
I put it upstairs in the closet again. And then I talked to my stepdaughter. I told her to keep this door closed. Don't come downstairs. And then I went downstairs. I took the picture. And then I just locked the door.
What did you take a picture of?
Of her.
Was she deceased at that point?
Yes.
And why did you take a photo?
So the family would know and be notified, and they can rush over there and get my stepdaughter.
And what did you do once you took that photo?
Uploaded it on Facebook.
Detectives dig deeper into Derek's background.
Was there ever a point in time where you were an amateur boxer?
Yeah.
What was your record as an amateur boxer?
25-0.
And that means that you never lost a fight?
Correct.
What injuries did you sustain today?
I have marks on my chest, my right side of the chest, and my left arm is bruised. Severe pain.
Are any of those injuries life-threatening?
No. I mean, it feels like it. They said it was just bruised, but I don't know if it's fractured, but I feel severe pain towards the left arm.
Did you feel that her punching you in the arm and chest would ultimately kill you?
Correct. I was more concerned about the temple.
But let me ask you, the injuries to your arm and to your chest, those were not life-threatening injuries, correct?
No. Well, maybe my chest. Maybe my chest, yes. My arm, no. My chest, yes.
Really? A boxer with a 25-0 record, someone who prides himself on being a tough guy, feels his life is being threatened by a petite, unarmed woman. Cops seem skeptical.
And why did you not call 911 from the residence?
Because I figured I had to solve it on my own.
And with that, Derek Medina is arrested and charged with first-degree murder. But is everything as it seems?
If you look at the video and if you watch what happened, the aggressor attempts to lure the other person to keep facilitating the fight. That's what Jennifer Alonso did here.
Coming up, the defense goes on the offense.
We had photographs in her phone.
And jurors hear from the only other person in the house that murderous morning, her daughter.
What kind of savage kills their wife and then posts the aftermath on social media? The answer, according to police, Derek Medina. However, Medina has another explanation for what happened. Ana Garcia has the accusations and outbursts from the trial that can only be described as bizarre.
Derek Medina just confessed to not only killing his wife, Jennifer Alfonso,
I fired away. I shot her.
but also ghoulishly posting a photo of her murdered body on Facebook. And then this shocker from Medina. The same guy who bragged to police about being an amateur boxer with a 25-0 record tells investigators he shot his wife 8 times in self-defense, even though she didn't even have a weapon.
Are any of those injuries life-threatening?
No. Well, I mean, it feels like it.
But cops and prosecutors didn't buy it. Derek Medina is charged with first-degree murder.
The murder of Jennifer Alfonso was a huge case in Miami. We've had a lot of bizarre murders in Miami, but this one really was in a different league. Just because of the fact that Derek put Jennifer's body on Facebook really said something unreal about the digital age.
A little over 2 years later, Derek Medina goes on trial.
The atmosphere in the courtroom was very emotional. It was very raw.
First up, the prosecution's opening statement.
He shot her. Not one time to get her off him. Not twice to make her stop. Ladies and gentlemen, the evidence will show that he emptied the clip. 8 shots at Jennifer, causing 21 entry and exit wounds. And what did he do then? He did what people do when they win. He told people about it. He took a picture of her and he posted it on Facebook.
Calling many witnesses over several days, the prosecution lays out its case, asserting that Derek walked away from the fight not to leave, but to get his .380 caliber gun.
According to Mr. Medina's statement, at what point exactly did Jennifer pick up the knife?
After he entered the kitchen with a firearm.
He fired, emptying his gun, then took a photo of her bullet-ridden body and posted it online. Next, it's the defense's turn. They allege Jennifer still had the knife in her hand when Derek shot her.
Derek's defense for the trial was that he acted in self-defense and that he was a victim of spousal abuse.
Spousal abuse? Remember, this is a self-proclaimed tough guy who was unbeaten as an amateur boxer. Defense attorney Sam Zanganeh shows surveillance video from the morning of the murder. claiming while Jennifer was alone downstairs, she went to the front door, opened and closed it, setting off the sensor to bait Derek, to get him downstairs so he would re-engage in their argument.
How far did she open that door? A crack.
She did that to lure Derek back downstairs. And the interactions that occurred after that resulted in the incident in the kitchen.
The defense also plays a video of another altercation between Derek and Jennifer, suggesting she'd been the aggressor at least one time before.
Well, let's play it. What did Jennifer Alfonso do to Derek Medina? Push him out of the way. So the video shows her striking him first, correct? Yes. Is my client able to keep her in the house? No. No further questions.
Those images of Jennifer can't compare to what jurors are about to see next. A videotaped interview with her 10-year-old daughter, the only other person in the house that fateful morning. She describes hearing the fight from her bedroom.
Didn't you go downstairs with me? Well, why did you leave me while I was coming home? Because it closed the door. Who closed the door? Derek. He said, stay in your room.
Then the girl describes the moment cops led her out of the house, right by her mother's body.
I couldn't see the whole entire thing because they're blocking me. And there's so many police in the house.
The 10-year-old is then asked if there is anybody in her family she fears.
The only one who I'm really glad is Derek. And why not? Because he's like mean and stuff.
After more than 2 weeks of testimony, closing arguments.
All of the evidence supports that he premeditated, which makes him guilty of first-degree murder.
And what she did, the position she put herself and Derek in, constitutes the justifiable use of deadly force.
Would Derek Medina, playing the defense card, work with the jury? After 6 hours of deliberations, the verdict.
We, the jury, find as follows as to count 1 of the indictment charging first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of second-degree murder.
Guilty of second-degree murder.
It wasn't self-defense. His life couldn't have been in danger. And if it was for 1 second, it was only as a result of him bringing a gun downstairs.
Almost 3 months later, Derek, who did not take the stand in his own defense, chooses to speak at his sentencing. Is this the spotlight moment he's been waiting for?
I will be suing this world. I did not get a fair trial. And I will be taking action. I will be suing. Nothing further. And God knows the truth and nothing further.
Derek Medina is sentenced to life in prison, though he is appealing his conviction.
There was a substantial amount of evidence that we weren't able to introduce. We had photographs in her phone with regards to satanic rituals. There's a lot of things that we had that we wanted to introduce, but the court limited our ability to educate the jury with regards to that.
It was a tragic case. I mean, Jennifer didn't have to die. Why not just walk away? Why kill her? I think Derek wanted to show the world what he had done to finally get that attention that he had been craving for years.
For Daisy, Jennifer's absence is still painful and incomprehensible.
After all this time, I still don't believe it. I've never lost someone that close to me. And someone that's special. Why her, you know? Like, she was amazing.
Barring any success with his appeal, Medina must serve a minimum of 25 years before he's eligible for parole.
Up next, it was the ultimate gentleman's club for New York's A-list, but Scores had secret ties to the underworld.
Everybody
was getting rich at Scores.
Including the mob.
Including the mob.
How the owner turned FBI informant helped bring down several key members of the Gambino crime family.
If they had found the body wire on him, they would have killed him in his place.
Coming up.
There was a time that if you were a big-time actor, actress, rock star, or pro athlete, you made a stop at Scores Cabaret here in New York City. a gentleman's club that had an A-list crowd that would rival any nightclub in the world. But behind the glitz and glamour was a secret, one that involved stacks and stacks of money and the mob.
He's partied with celebrities and sports stars, rising to the top of one of the most famous strip club empires worth millions.
Was he scared to death? Oh, he was definitely scared to death.
Scared to death because he's also the point man on an inside job.
They heard me on that tape. That's a conspiracy to murder.
That would bring down some of the most notorious mafia figures of all time.
So when you took John Gotti, you basically decapitated the family.
Who is he? You'd never know by looking at him.
I'm defenseless. I'm not a tough guy. I mean, if somebody wants to come after me, they'll get me.
For a guy who rubbed elbows with VIPs of the underworld, Michael Bluetrick started much smaller, as a partner in a politically connected law firm.
I was not happy just being an attorney. I always wanted to be doing something. I owned comedy clubs. I owned sporting goods stores. I was trying to find a niche for myself.
That niche is something revolutionary for Manhattan, a gentleman's club catering to New York's high society.
The only strip bars we had were the ones in 42nd Street with the blacked out stuff and the old ladies dancing and everything terrible. And nobody would go to that. No respectable person would go to that kind of club.
But Bluetrick has a vision. The club he'd call Scores would be the kind of place where lap dances are a respectable business.
I said, you know, this could really be something.
Who was your clientele?
Our clientele were the rich, famous, the top of America.
Sports figures.
Sports figures.
Entertainers.
Entertainers, movie stars, athletes from every sport in the world. There was no strata of superstar and famous person that did not come to Scores.
Shock jock Howard Stern talked about the club nearly every day on his national radio show.
We would get busloads of Japanese showing up and saying, is this the Scores that Howard Stern talks about?
Superstar Demi Moore even worked the floor, training for her role in the movie Striptease.
At the peak of things, how much money was Scores raking in a night?
I would say on a good week, in the peak of things, maybe $400,000.
$400,000 a week?
Yes.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
You got rich.
Yes, I went from a wealthy lawyer to a very rich man.
That kind of cash attracts a lot of attention. Sometimes the wrong kind.
I had a visit from someone who I knew was a mob affiliate, a very senior associate of the mob. And he sat me down and he said, listen, I hear that you have taken the old Club A space. And that's a very dangerous proposition that you've just gotten yourself into. Because the Club A space, there are dibs on that space and that neighborhood from a couple of different families. And
mob family.
Mob families.
And Bluetrick says those families made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
And if you don't make some sort of accommodation to those families, the place will be firebombed. And if the place still is open, we'll send people. They'll send people in there to fire guns into the floor and scare people and make everybody run away and make the police make the place very uncomfortable for people. And this is the life that you are choosing. Are you out of your mind?
It's a classic mob extortion racket, and the characters involved send shivers down the spine of the low-key lawyer.
This is the Gambino family.
Yes, this was the Gambino family.
John Gotti.
John Gotti's family, yes. John Gotti Sr. at that time.
How did you react to that?
I started sweating through my shirt.
Despite all his money, Bluetrick knows he can't afford to say no. He allows Steven Sergio, the son of alleged Gambino kingpin Michael Sergio, to enforce the place.
This was not a bully thing. This was a mutual business arrangement between me and Michael. And it worked out perfectly. It really did.
And Steven Sergio is happy to be on the take.
Well, I mean, it started out slow. It started out with $1,000 a week. The deal that I made with him was an unbelievable deal for him because if it hadn't been me, it would have been somebody else that probably wouldn't have been nowhere near as nice to Michael Bluetrick as I was.
And Scores is nice to Steven Sergio. He's shaking down everyone on the payroll, from the dancers to the DJs, right down to the busboys and janitors. Steven says his weekly take-home balloons to $50,000 a week.
You have to understand, no one knew how much money was going out. So If you want to call that extortion, I think it's more entrepreneurish than extortion.
Whatever you call it, it went all the way to the top. Even acting Gambino boss John Gotti Jr. is allegedly getting a piece of the action.
Everybody
was getting rich at Scores.
Including the mob.
Including the mob.
Bluetrick is in deep with organized crime, but his fall would really begin years earlier in an unrelated scheme, far from the glamour and grit of New York.
The Florida fraud case was the beginning of the end.
Was the beginning of the end.
Before Scores had even opened, Bluetrick's business associate Shalom Weiss wanted to buy an Orlando insurance company, but he was a little shy on cash.
I still can't believe I did it, but they had a plan, and the plan was that both the sellers and the buyers and the insurance company all had accounts in the same bank.
Bluetrick brokered a deal. Weiss would borrow money from the insurance company to buy the insurance company.
That's fraud.
Yes, because we used the insurance company money to buy the insurance company, and it created a great deal of problems.
That's putting it mildly. His friend Shalom Weiss goes on to loot the insurance company of a record-breaking $440 million. When he's later convicted, Weiss's sentence is just as staggering, 835 years in prison. Current projected release date, November 23rd of 2754. Bluetrick's involvement in that older scheme was coming back to haunt him.
I faced time, and we had a very angry prosecutor.
But the feds would offer the mild-mannered lawyer a lifeline.
If we would agree to cooperate and, get these people who had been extorting us at Scores, they could give us a 99.9% promise that we would never see the inside of a jail cell.
You became an FBI informant.
Yes, I became an FBI informant.
And put him point blank with a family notorious for extortion, assault, and murder.
How close did you come to being found out?
As close as any human being can come.
Coming up.
If they had found the body wire on him, they would have killed him in his place. No question.
How Michael the mob rat escaped with his life.
I mean, who could believe this?
The Gentlemen's Club Scores here in New York had attracted a client list full of famous faces and infamous characters as well. And even though business was booming, we're talking more than $400,000 a week, things were about to go bad in a big way.
Michael Bluetrick Scores is a high-end strip club with a low-down problem. There are no rats in the kitchen, but plenty in the back office.
Anybody want like a cognac or something?
How deeply did the mob infiltrate Scores?
Well, it was sort of like once I let the fox in the door, it was hard to keep track.
But Mob Task Force federal prosecutor Art Leach says an unrelated $500 million scheme put Michael Bluetrick in even deeper trouble.
Michael was accused of putting together a shady financial deal to purchase an insurance company in Florida.
Yes, he in fact did that. But then it cascaded out of control, and millions and millions of dollars of assets were removed from the company.
Bluetrick's in hot water and deep, but the feds offer Bluetrick a parachute.
When the government came along and said, there is one path for you in your life to redemption, I took it.
Here's the path. If Bluetrick wants to save his skin, he'll have to go undercover at his own club and roll secret tape on the Gambinos, one of the most notorious crime families in history.
You wore a wire.
I wore a wire over the course of a year, and I taped 110 conversations.
110 conversations?
Yes.
With mobsters?
Yes.
It's risky.
If they had found the body wire on him, they would have killed him in his place.
He would have been killed?
Right there.
Had he been outed?
No question.
The time is approximately 7:12 p.m. The purpose of this recording is to capture conversations of Michael Bluetrick and Michael Sergio.
In 1,000 hours of secret surveillance, Bluetrick sweats bullets. Here in the back office of Scores, catching mobsters taking payoffs. And just listen as this known associate of the Gambino family brags about a brutal beatdown.
I beat him so bad. In his head, everything was blood everywhere.
We had films of them coming in and taking their weekly draws, the mafia. We had conversations taped where murder conspiracies were developed. We had every crime you could think of, from money laundering to assault to all of it captured on film.
Blutrick knows any misstep, without a doubt, would get him whacked.
How tense was that?
I think I suffered a psychotic break during it. I really do.
The low-key lawyer should be worried. Mob enforcer Steven Sergio, whom you can clearly see in the surveillance video, says the wise guys are starting to get wiser.
I tried to warn them all. They went right ahead and walked right into the trap. All everybody had to do was keep their mouth shut.
But they don't. And Blutrick goes on to catch one more bombshell bit of family business. A tale of extortion that goes all the way to the top.
They're after John Gotti. They're after Junior Gotti. That's the marquee name on top of the indictment.
And Michael Blutrick got the whole scheme on tape.
They extorted, initially they went after $200,000 from the owners of Scores. It was eventually reduced to $100,000, and that extortion was paid.
It was from one hand to another hand to another hand to Junior.
John Gotti Jr., essentially.
$100,000. One-time payoff.
This single recording cooks the Gambino's goose, putting wise guy after wise guy behind bars, including mob boss John Gotti Jr.
You helped bring down several key members of
Yes.
the Gambino crime family.
And other families, yeah.
A lot of mobsters.
A lot of mobsters.
If you did not have Michael Blutrick, all of those prosecutions would not have happened. You know, it's one thing to be able to prosecute low-level mafia people, associates, and perhaps a soldier or two, but this case went into the highest reaches of the Gambino crime family.
So Blutrick putting himself in Gotti's crosshairs should get him off the hook with the Florida State's Attorney's Office, right? Nope.
We got zero consideration for the New York cooperation. We wound up with Good Time serving 13 plus years.
Did the government back out on its promise?
100%.
Even so, Blutrick says prison time didn't keep him from making good on the Florida scheme.
I have spent 17 years now cooperating to recover that money. One of the proudest things I can say is that everybody got their money back, and I got the people who paid them all their money back.
Michael Blutrick may have paid his debts in Florida, but what about his New York friends, ones who might to this day be carrying a grudge? He lives in fear of that every day.
Is your life in danger today, as we sit here?
I'm defenseless. I mean, I'm not a tough guy. I mean, if somebody wants to come after me, they'll get me.
And he's hiding in plain sight. Blutrick is no longer in the witness protection program. He says he's already forfeited 13 years in prison. He's not going to forfeit the rest of his life being scared. The former strip club king also just wrote a new book called Scores, where he reveals even more about his rise and fall here in New York City.